Von diesen Themen wollen wir jetzt unseren Blick richten auf eine sehr kurzfristige Krise, die in der Europa gerade steckt. Es geht um den Krieg in der Ukraine und um die Frage, welche Rolle Europa eigentlich in dem Konflikt spielen kann. Dabei lohnt sich ein Blick in die baltischen Staaten, die ja die Distanz und die Differenzen zu Russland, die wir jetzt alle spüren, schon sehr viel früher gespürt haben, als wir hier in Deutschland beispielsweise. Und dafür begrüßen Sie bitte mit mir Kusti Salm, Staatssekretär im Verteidigungsministerium von Estland, der kurzfristig für den Verteidigungsminister Hannu Pevkur eingesprungen ist. Und begrüßen Sie auch mit mir Anna Sauerbrey von der ZEIT, die dieses Gespräch führen wird und die im Anschluss auch noch ein Interview führt mit dem ukrainischen Botschafter Oleksiy Makeyev. Viel Spaß beim Zuschauen.
Hello, and a very warm welcome from my side too, and a very warm welcome, of course, to Kusti Salm, who is the permanent secretary of the Estonian Ministry of Defense. Where are you today? Are you joining us from Tallinn?
I am. I'm joining you from my office. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for being here today.
Tell me how many people are there in the conference?
I don't know, but I think that many people might be interested in this very timely panel. Let's speak about Estonia first. It's one of the countries, obviously, that's bordering Russia. So my first question to you would be, how threatened does Estonia feel? How threatened do Estonians feel these days?
Well, thank you for the question, and also thank you for the invitation. That's a very acute question, and I will go straight to the business. The way we articulate this now, both government does it and we do it for Estonian people, is that there is no imminent military threat to Estonia. But the emphasis in this sentence is not the word threat. The emphasis is on the words imminent and military, meaning that for an imminent period, 6 months, 3 months, we can be fairly sure that Russia is not in position to go against Baltic nations just because they are in Ukraine. The same applies for military threat, but without words imminent and military, this sentence, of course, would be nonsense. Because, everything what Russia is conducting in Ukraine, but also coming back to the demands that Russia put forward in the December 2021, that made it extremely clear. The war in Ukraine, the Russian aggression against Ukraine, is not about Ukraine. It's about security architecture of Europe. It's about the simple terms that have been existing for almost 100 years that are under dispute. Does the concepts like sovereignty and territorial integrity exist in Europe in 2023 or not? Does the aggression as a tool exists in the toolbox of autocratic nations or not? Thirdly, quite bluntly, is the concept of sphere of influence still intact or not? These are the issues that are at stake there, and these are the sort of the downside for North Atlantic security, and in particular for Estonian and Baltic states.
As you said, Estonians and many other European countries feel that the West or Europe as a whole is a threat. Estonia still is delivering many heavy weapons to Ukraine, howitzers, anti-tank grenade launchers, military vehicles. So one could say that you're weakening your own defense in order to help Ukraine. How much of a stretch is that now to Estonia's armed forces?
Well, very good question again. The story of Ukraine for Estonia, story of helping Ukraine for Estonia is again two-sided. First side, of course, is we need to support Ukraine. They need to win the war. For winning the war, they need weapons. Quite frankly, the Javelins are shooting the same tanks that would hypothetically come against Estonia. So very linear connection there. The second part of the flip side of the same coin is that we also need to encourage our allies to do the same. We should show the leadership. We should push the borders. We should send the signal by our example Around the same time last year, Estonia decided to send howitzers to Ukraine. That was a month before, and there was a big discussion, especially in Germany. We tend to think now that this was the discussion that should have happened anyway. So it might have pushed German public opinion and then political leadership into making quicker decisions after 24th. And the same applies for taking risks. Clearly, when we are in the situation as a Europe in supporting Ukraine, where all the spear weapons are already there, and when the sort of non-unit allocated ammunition stocks are all dried up, then clearly our answer cannot be that we cannot do anything more. Our answer has to be that now we need to go into the risk-taking territory. And again, if Estonia is in position to say that, hey, we can take calculated risks, then there is no nation in Europe who would say that, no, we can't, because our units will become unequipped. Clearly, the risks cannot be outrageous. They cannot be unaccountable. We have mitigated our risks in time and also in capabilities. So most of this stuff that we have given away will be replaced in 1 or 1.5 years. Everything is under contract. Deliveries will come. And we also have mitigation strategies thanks to our allies and thanks to some weapon systems. Well, for example, we have replaced howitzers with extra mortars in our 2nd Brigade.
Mm-hmm. You have already mentioned the problems that Estonia and other countries have to supply ammunitions, and also that the industry is stretching to supply ammunitions, to supply the weaponry that is needed right now. You have in the past been in charge also of defense acquisition in Estonia. You've worked with other NATO countries, other European countries, coordinating those supplies. Where do you see the coalition right now, and how much of a stretch is it to your industry, to other defense industries in Europe?
Well, it is a stretch. I mean, there is no denying about this. It's a difficult puzzle to solve. I think the heads and minds and the hearts are in the right place. There is a consolidated political, understanding of doing more. But here I want to be extremely clear on this. Ammunition question, the lack of weaponry, and the remedying this situation is not a policy issue. It's not some sort of process issue. It's a very simple demand signal issue. We have to put money on the table. We need to put orders in. We need to be long-term in this. So defense industry would also have and their investors would have courage to make investments that might not be backed with imminent contracts. This is the only way to solve this. If the answer is that, if we, start to build new factories, the new manufactured shells are coming out in 2027. Well, so what? The alternative is that if we do it next month, then it's going to be 2027 plus 1 month. So that's the only way. And what's actually happening, and I think this might even be one of the strongest alarm bells for the industry itself, that South Korea, Israel, the ones who are capable are stepping into these shoes.
Mm. You said that the hearts and minds are in the right places, and still you always get the feeling that it needs a little pushing also within the alliance that is supporting Ukraine these days, for everybody to have their hearts and minds in the right places. And Estonia has led a coalition of 11 states ahead of the Ramstein meeting, where the coalition partners met at the end of last month to pledge more support to Ukraine. It was called the Tallinn Pledge. So how difficult was it to bring those countries together, and how content are you with the results of Ramstein, of the meeting in Ramstein?
Well, when it comes to our efforts, then there is very rarely when politically, grandiosely phrased initiatives are not successful. So we are very, very content about these, and that's clear. And I think the efforts put forward in Ramstein is also one of the greatest outcomes of the post-24 February 22 of the Western unity. But here again, we need to put back very, very sober glasses. The benchmark of success of our military aid isn't what we convince ourselves it is. It is what's going on the battlefield of Ukraine. And clearly, the success is not translating there. Our goal is for Ukraine to win the war, to restore the territorial integrity, to restore proudness of this country and this beautiful people there. And we need to invest into this. We need to send more weapons, and we need to be clever and courageous in doing this. And clearly, it means taking more risks, doing more. And we need to also be politically very clear about this. If we are in position to stand on podium, travel to Kiev, give all these patriotic speeches, how this all things needs to be achieved, then we also need to be in the same shoes, in the same position to put the money where our mouth is. Estonian contribution of military lethal aid to Ukraine is nearly 1% of GDP. There is the grandiose historic effort, European peace facility from European Union that was 1 year ago that would have been unthinkable even to speak about this in Brussels corridors. This is 0.02% of European GDP. So there is definitely room for growth, and we just need to put the efforts in place to achieve this.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about Germany. Germany has now decided to deliver Leopard tanks to Ukraine. How do you view Germany's position right now within the alliance? Has it delivered on its Zeitenwende?
I want to be extremely clear on this, and this isn't sort of a pre-rehearsed position here. Germany is one of our closest allies. The things that Germany has done in recent years is incredible. It's clearly one of the top 3 sort of positive outcomes for the West and for the NATO. The leadership that Germany has showed in NATO, and mainly what Germany has done in Lithuania, in putting this forward defense concept in place. The initiative that Germany is doing with the air defense is incredible. Well, Germany is Germany's aid to Ukraine is highest in EU by a mile. These are all good things. We all need to discount a little bit of this awakening with the fact that things are not happening overnight. If there's an advice to your teenage son that if he goes out for a party first time, that you don't need to live the old life in one night. And it's the same. We need to keep expectations there. It's in our interest that Germany would invest more, would deliver more, would take larger both regional and European role in security. But we also need to be realistic when it's going to happen. And I think it is happening now in this region. We are feeling this. We see that this is there, but it's a little bit like this, remake of Rocky V movie that you come from retirement and you need to get in shape again, and it takes time. But I'm very confident that Germany will get there.
Chancellor Olaf Scholz has made it a condition that the U.S. deliver Abrams tanks or pledge to deliver Abrams as a condition for the delivery of the Leopard tanks. Was that a prudent move from your point of view?
Well, we measure success in the actual results, and the result is that the air defense tanks are maybe not there, but they're being decided. We need to have empathy towards the decision-making processes in Germany. Obviously, there are reasons why these decisions are not becoming easily. Obviously, there's a reason. our job as an ally is to make these decisions easier for you. Try to facilitate, try to encourage, try to motivate, try to understand, to get to the goal that is also right pathway for Germany. And your government has backed up this pathway when we measure results. And I think this is the only thing we need to measure.
So you wouldn't say that there is an East-West divide or a Northern-Western divide within the alliance. Many observers feel that the Baltic countries, Poland, many other Central European countries were much more forward than, say, Germany or France in pushing the alliance to deliver more weapons to Ukraine. Is there an East-West divide?
I don't feel that there is. There's ways and means that the nations have in their capabilities. And at the end of the day, our strongest allies are united. And the stronger we are, the more we will deliver. Putting a wedge or making a divide between allies is only in the interest of Russia. So it's extremely important policy goal for us not to create this division. Mm-hmm. Everyone will do as much as they can, and Germany is doing a lot. Of course, if we might choose, every single nation on this earth would do more. But clearly we need to, do as much as possible, and we need to be clever in our politics that we will be able to do more in February 2023, in June 2023, and even more by the end of 2023. Mm-hmm.
We have only 1 minute left, maybe a very short yes or no answer to my last question. Estonia and Poland are hoping or are pushing for more defense spending within NATO too. You're going for 2.5 yes. or even 3%. How confident are you? So will this happen on the next NATO meeting in July? Will there be a new pledge?
Yes, we are pushing. Very important, as I mentioned, the source of all the issues the North Atlantic Alliance has is underinvestment in the last 20-30 years. We need to be open about this. Germany is reaching 2%. We are hoping that Germany is also putting themselves in front of this cart and help to encourage other allies to get there. The war in Ukraine is existential threat for transatlantic security. We cannot get things wrong here.
Well, thank you very much for being with us today, Kusti Salm, and have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Pleasure talking to you.
Und sehr geehrte Zuschauerinnen und Zuschauer an den Monitoren, wir können hier jetzt gleich weitersprechen mit dem ukrainischen Botschafter in Berlin. Den bitte ich jetzt hier zu mir ans Pult und es geht sofort weiter.